Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Days and welcome to this week's NXT review, and I am pumped. I'm pumped because I really enjoyed this week's show. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't a show that I'm going to go back and, watch again and again and again and again, but to be honest, NXT has been wide of the mark now for several weeks. For me, it's been kind of at its lowest point for a couple of years. Since around about the summer, like May, June time. They had that big clear out, we lost a lot of big stars. Like the night after WrestleMania, you get the likes of Apollo Crews, Baron Corbin, Vaudevillains, they all left. And then you get the brand split where you lose Nia Jax, Carmella, Alexa Bliss, Finn Balor, Mojo Rawley, Bayley obviously gets called up as well. There was a lot of stars that have gone, and there's been this big clear out, and they've struggled. And this felt for me like the first week for quite a while where it just worked. I mean, you start off with Samoa Joe, right? Samoa Joe comes out and he reads out a list of the medical issues that Nakamura's got as a result of Joe beating him up last week. And he says that Nakamura will be out for 6 to 12 weeks. He calls out Regal. Regal says, I don't know where you've got information from, but sadly it is true. And Joe goes, right, well, I want my title shot, or strip him of the belt. It's a real clever move by Samoa Joe, because part of me thought, are they going to strip him of the title? If he's out for 12 weeks, 3 months, he gets stripped of the title. You've got to defend it. Is it like once a month or something along those lines? 6 weeks you might be able to get away with, but yeah, I didn't know what they were going to do. Regal came out. He's not committed to anything. He says he hasn't even spoke to Nakamura. Loved the bit where he goes, don't know if you know, but Nakamura's not like a normal person. He's like, we knew. And he goes, so I've not spoken to him yet. I am going to deal with this, and I am going to deal with you. Joe goes, I didn't want to do this, jumps out the ring. I honestly thought he was about to start smacking on Regal, and I would have loved for Regal to have got just a few shots. I know Samoa Joe's going to have to come out looking the stronger of this. Of course he should. But I would love to have seen Regal, just a couple. Just a couple of jabs or something. I would have popped for that, but he doesn't. Regal does a good job of kind of like, oh, what is going on? Samoa Joe right in his face and says, this list of medical issues, that's going to be your whole roster unless you get this sorted. Leaves him with the list and walks off. It was great. It was impactful. It had me on the edge of my seat. It's like, what's going to happen? Are they going to strip Joe of the title? Was we going to see Regal against Samoa Joe? It was brilliant. Really enjoyed it. Then it was announced that Cedric Alexander was going to make his debut on NXT. Now, we did see Cedric Alexander on Raw, which kind of took the edge off this a little, but still it was nice to see him in a match, and he was going to be against Cien Almas, so knew that was going to be a good match. Don't think I was prepared for it to be as good as what it turned out to be, and we will get to it in a bit. Liv Morgan cuts a bit of a promo backstage, talking about how she's ready for Asuka. Asuka interrupts, and she says, you think you're ready? Well, we'll find out. What I liked about this was the fact that Asuka was there, and again, just didn't know what was going to happen. Was Asuka about to start flailing away? Was Liv Morgan going to take this opportunity in front of her? It's kind of, Liv Morgan's an unknown entity. I like Liv Morgan. I think she's limited, right? But she's got bags of potential. She's got great agility, great athleticism. She can do, handstand kind of flips off the ropes, and she can do lots of like nice, intricate work, reversals and stuff. Nothing amazing, and nothing that's smooth yet. She knows how to do all the moves. I reckon she could do all of the moves one at a time, but where she's struggling is putting them into a sequence, and the flow and the transition from move to move. That will come with time. The more she wrestles, the more she gets used to sequences and actually putting things together, she will get smoother. I think that she's at the point now where she could have a decent match against Asuka. a match that she needs to lose. I do not want to see that title getting put on Liv Morgan. But I would in the future, you know. I really think she needs just polishing and refining and, you know, a few more moves added to the arsenal. You fast forward 12 months, I think she's going to be in a real good place. I'm intrigued by this match, and we get to see it next week. So, yeah, I liked that. And the only problem I had, actually, before I move on, is Liv, when she was talking, she was looking like up here. She was like, yeah, Asuka says she's cleared out the women's division. Well, I'm still here, and you know, it's like, no, we're there, so you can talk to us here, or if you want, you can talk to the person that's interviewing you, but I don't see the point in, you know, all of this kind of stuff. No, blah, 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 blah. Who are you talking to? You just look crazy. So, yeah, just a little refining. Someone who's not refined, One Logan. Now, One Logan, right, was up against Austin Aries. One beat Ty Dillinger about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. And it was a big, big upset, right? So this is, I think, the first time we've seen him since that match. Man, he is someone to watch. He's not an enhancement talent. He's weird because he is, but I don't know if they've got kind of bigger plans for him. I don't know if they're trying to elevate him up because he can do stuff in the ring. One Logan, for me, is the love child of Skinner. For those of you that don't know Skinner, I'll put a picture up somewhere. I'll duck down in case it's somewhere. Right, Skinner, Cesaro, and Tommaso Ciampa. If those three got together and you took all their DNA, then One Logan would be what comes out. One Logan needs a gimmick. Desperate for a gimmick. Desperate for a gimmick. I know that we're not in this kind of gimmick era, but then you still have the likes of Bray Wyatt, you know? And One needs something like that. He needs something along the lines of Skinner. Just this, you know, outback wild man, because when he's in the ring, he's like squealing away and stuff, you know. He's a bit like Henry Godwin as well, but he can do it in the ring. You know, he's got a beautiful European uppercut, which is why, you know, I say that he reminds me a bit of Cesaro. His kind of ring attire gives me that vibe as well. So he's kind of got, as I say, he's kind of got the mannerisms and the way he carries himself of like a Henry Godwin or a Skinner, but then his moveset is more a Cesaro. But his appearance is more a Tommaso Ciampa. So I do find him very interesting. He was in the ring against Austin Aries, the greatest man who ever lived. And, well, he was the greatest man to deliver an elbow off the top turnbuckle or middle rope. When he came down, I think it was the top, kind of the way that he extends out, Austin Aries this is, yeah, extends out, comes back in and literally with it was like a surgeon. Just went elbow, bang, right there. I mean, it was wonderful. It was, honestly, it was. I've never seen an elbow off the top rope or off the turnbuckle as majestic as that. It was like kind of, here I am, whoa, straight into doing the damage. I am getting very excited at the moment by basic moves. You know, in my SmackDown review, I kind of swooned over a Dolph Ziggler dropkick, but when they're done right, when these moves are done perfectly, they are, for me, just as impressive as a Michinoku driver, you know? So, yeah, Logan grunting and delivering. You see his strikes he delivered in the corner as well, like, blah, 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 like that. Aries jumped into a European uppercut, but last chancery win for Aries. This was a great match. I really, really enjoyed it. After the match, he calls out, Aries wins, he calls out Hideo. He's like, he's a coward, you know. Everyone was like, where was I last week when Hideo was wrestling? Well, I'll tell you, I was at home, I got better things to do. Where's Hideo now? You know, he's a coward, he's a baby, I'm not even going to bother calling him out, he's not here. Out he comes, to no one's surprise. But it was all a trap, because Hideo, in his wrestling gear, comes to the ring, jumps in the ring. The second he gets in, Aries gets out. And what I loved as well is him kind of running around on the outside, hands in the air, you know, just like, look at what I've done, I'm the greatest. And that was it, he left. So obviously they're still building up for that, and that's got takeover written all over it whenever that next takeover is. Dan Mather, is it? Or it's not Matter, I think it's Dan Mather. In 2 weeks' time, this big guy, massive arms. You know, he's coming in a couple of weeks. Looks good, looks big, looks powerful. They're doing a lot of work on that kind of male roster at the moment. You know, we've got Cedric Alexander just made his debut. You've got Dan Mather coming in a couple of weeks' time. Obviously, they're building up feuds with Hideo and Aries. You got Bobby Roode, who's just smashing things apart. Samoa Joe, Nakamura. Loads going on the male side of the roster. Do you just worry about the tag teams because I don't see as much activity on that side? Although there was a clip of Ciampa and Gargano getting jumped by the Revival, getting beaten up, and it was a WWE.com exclusive clip, but it just teases, you know, that they're kind of building towards, again, a takeover, I'd imagine, a match between those guys. Really hope Ciampa and Gargano get those NXT tag titles, just because I think they deserve them. You know, Gargano in particular is just, he was so big on the indie scene that I just don't want them to kind of hold him back. He can go, so put the belts on him, let him show what he can do. You know, it's I'm fully on board with those guys. I'd say that Tommaso and Johnny are my favourite tag team in the whole of the WWE at the moment. Next up, we get another very interesting match. Aaliyah, who I absolutely love her entrance music. It's got like a kind of dance vibe to it, but it's a little different as well. It's a bit different. It's not the kind of thing that you tend to hear. And then really different is Billie Kay's music. She's got that kind of upbeat opera entrance music. Still hate her ring attire, but it does fit her character. I'm not a massive fan of her, in truth. I'm cooling on her a bit. I just don't, she's just not connecting. And I know she's a heel, but it's just, I'm not desperate to see Billie Kay against Asuka, and I should be, because, you know, Billie Kay is probably the biggest heel in NXT at the moment. That's a bit depressing, isn't it? Billie Kay's the biggest female heel. Anyway, discus forearm from Billie Kay, a torture rack as well, a neck breaker for a 2 count. I think that was from Aaliyah, but a big boot win for Billie Kay. Then we get Mandy Rose. Haven't seen much of Mandy Rose at all. She's calling out Ember Moon, so that's another little feud that you know, clearly they're trying to build. Mandy Rose, I seem to recall we've seen her once in a multi-woman tag match a few weeks ago. She looked all right. There was a girl, who was that girl now that was like an MMA fighter? I'd love to see her again. I forget her name. But yeah, the women's division is, it's got women in it, you know, but it just needs a bit of coaxing, a bit of more support, a bit more of a spotlight shining on it. Then we get the main event, and it was wonderful. It was the match of the week. Take into account Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. Cedric Alexander against Cien Almas. They obviously showed the please sign Cedric moment from the CWC. Corkscrew plancha from Almas, which was wonderful. Big enziguri as well. There was in-ring action, out-ring action. NXT chants. You know, this was so well paced. It was just constantly something happening. There was very few like rest holds and sub holds and stuff like that. It was bouncing all over the ring, you know, with reversals and everything, and that got the crowd going. And for the first time in a long time, we got NXT chants. And then there was a beautiful power jackknife from Almas, you know, powers up Cedric Alexander, jackknifes him down. It was a big moment. Moonsault from Almas as well. So he's on the top, does a moonsault, Obviously Cedric moves, but he lands on his feet, and then he does a standing moonsault. It's a spot that we've seen before, but it's wonderful. It's beautiful. But he only gets the 2. Only gets the 2 count for that. I mean, that's a spot that deserved a 3, but he only gets the 2. But Cedric Alexander wins it with like a double knees kind of move, and big kind of match moment. I want to say upset, but I don't know if it is an upset. I suppose it is an upset. You know, he was debuting against Cien, and Cien has struggled a lot since coming. I don't know. Cien would have done well to have been in the CWC and got a bit more exposure there and really showcased what he could do. He's just, for whatever reason, not connected yet. Maybe he will. I think there's a bit more tweaking to be done with his character. I think actually he needs a mask. I think NXT could do with a masked luchador. I don't believe they have one at the moment, and maybe that's where Cien could fit in and actually get over. But I know there was a bigger masking with Cien before he came to NXT, but I don't know. He's just struggling. Alexander isn't, though. The crowd absolutely loves Cedric Alexander. He's got a bright future, a real bright future. So we'll have to see. But yeah, again, I'm sure you could tell by my passion just how much I enjoyed this week's NXT. I thought it was really good from start to finish. I'd love to know your thoughts. Obviously, drop it in the comments below. Give the video a like if you liked it, and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Thanks a lot for watching. Really do appreciate it. And hopefully see you again next time. Bye for now.